Most ambitious live poker players are trying way too hard to improve, and it's killing their win rate. They study complicated strategies, obsess over solver outputs, and chase fancy plays while missing the simple adjustments that would actually make them money. After helping dozens of low-stakes players like you crush their 1-2 and 1-3 games, I found 5 changes that can improve your win rate fast. And in this video, I'm giving you all of them. The fastest way of improving your win rate and staying out of trouble at the same time is actually very simple, yet hardly anyone does it. To show you what I mean, imagine you get into a taxi. Everything seems okay for the moment, but then you hit heavy traffic. Every extra minute now makes your ride longer and crucially more expensive. And worse, you're already committed. Getting out now still costs you time and money, so you kind of stick with it. Doesn't sound very attractive, right? Well, then why do you do this at the poker table? Because what I just described is exactly what the vast majority of players does. They call with suited connectors pre-flop in the hope of hitting a flush. And when they do hit their flush, but another player bets big over multiple streets, they keep calling because they are committed, and then they lose a big pot. Or they raise ace-jack offsuit, get 3-bet, and then they call the 3-bet. The flop comes ace-high, so they keep calling big bets only to lose to ace-king. These are just a few examples, but players do this all the time. They get involved in pots, especially in big pots, with hands that are dominated by better hands. Professional players might be able to overcome this with their skill edge, but for beginners or intermediate players, such hands are nothing but trouble. Instead, play a very tight range of hands pre-flop. Only get involved with the best hands and some speculative hands that draw to the nuts or close to the nuts. Hands like suited aces that can make the nut flush so that you can stack someone who can't let go of their 7-high flush rather than the other way around. And pocket pairs that can flop a set. And if all this was a bit too quick for you, worry not, because I have put together a cheat sheet with all my opening and 3-betting ranges that I use to crush 1-2 and 1-3. They're specifically made for these stakes, and you can get them for free by clicking the link below or by scanning this QR code. But now let's move to the most important change you could make in your game, and that will boost your win rate most if you truly follow it. To show you what I mean, imagine you walk into a building and you smell a tiny hint of smoke. It could be burnt toast or someone cooking, no big deal. But if you keep moving through the house and now you see thick smoke pouring under a door, well, now that's very different, right? And if you then open that door and see actual flames, then it's pretty clear that you need to get out of there really fast. So, what does that have to do with poker? If someone c-bets the flop, that's like a bit of burnt smell. If someone bets big on the turn, that's more like seeing the smoke pouring under a door. And if someone bets big on the river, now this is like seeing the actual flames. The problem is just that most players don't recognize those flames as what they really are. They will start finding reasons not to think that there is a threat. They'll say things like, well, maybe he missed, maybe he's bluffing, maybe he's trying to push me around. But at 1-2 and 1-3, recreational players usually aren't running big multi-street bluffs. By the time they're showing real aggression on later streets, they often have exactly what they're representing. So the fastest way to improve your win rate is to fold bluff catchers to this aggression on later streets. Your recreational opponents at these stakes don't bluff enough when they bet big on the river, so don't try to bluff catch. Recognize the smoke before you walk into the fire. Another way of improving your results fast is by simply doing less. To show you what I mean, let me ask you a question. Do you know Lionel Messi, one of the best football or soccer players of recent times? He scored some incredible goals, led his country Argentina to a World Cup win, and electrified fans around the world. But when he's on the pitch for 90 minutes, how many minutes do you think that he actually touches the ball? It is between 1 and 2 minutes. That's it. For the remaining 88 or 89 minutes, Messi just walks around and makes some intermittent sprints. And what about poker players? Well, the better players will have a very similar approach. They only play a few hands an hour, but will play those with conviction. And for the rest of the time, they just fold. They won't let boredom take over their strategy. They will be disciplined and not get involved with subpar holdings. So be like Lionel Messi. Don't force it when you're card dead. And I get it. It can be extremely frustrating if you're in a great game against weak players, but you're card dead. But here's the thing that you have to remember. If you sit in a great game, you're benefiting from your opponent's mistakes, even if you're not involved in that exact hand. Being card dead is part of the game, and the objective in poker is not to win the next hand. The objective is to make the best possible decision. And what do you think is the best possible decision when you have 10 deuce offsuit? Well, it is to fold. So as long as you don't make mistakes, you will profit long term. The next one is subtle, but it is the easiest to implement out of all of these, and it will give you a great return. To understand the concept better, imagine you start a new business as a freelancer and you're wondering how much you should charge your customers. Let's assume your first customer doesn't really care about money. All they want is to get their problem fixed. So, now that we have this information, would you charge them $50 for the job or $100 for the same job? If you didn't set up the business as a charity, you'll probably say $100. And poker is like a business. And although most players don't intend to run their poker business as a charity, more often than not, they will still charge the lower price. They typically do that for one of two reasons. A, because they're on autopilot and aren't even thinking about it, or B, deep down they are scared that their opponent will fold if they size bigger. So they choose the safe sizing instead of the profitable one. The result is that they slow play big hands or just raise to a standard amount instead of going for maximum value. So if you want to improve your win rate fast, all you have to do is to raise a bit bigger and avoid slow playing. At 1-2 and 1-3, most opponents care far more about their own hand than your sizing. They want to satisfy their itch and will call the river bet whether you make it 60, 90 or even 110 in many cases. And the same is true pre-flop. If you have pocket kings, just raise bigger. Villains will call with their a7 offsuit whether you 3-bet to 30 or 40 after they made it 10. But here's the caveat. You don't want to always raise so big, only with hands that are truly good. It doesn't have to be the nuts, but you have to be confident that it will call you with a weaker hand. Otherwise, you might end up only getting called by better hands while folding out worse ones. But if you bet big with big hands, you'll just add that little bit extra to your win rate. And the fifth way to improve your win rate is more of an indirect one, but it is the most underestimated and underused one, so pay attention, literally. A while ago, I was playing in my local 1-2 game with a friend who isn't happy with his hourly rate. After a few minutes at the table, the following hand developed. An early position player limped, the cutoff raised to 10, the big blind called, and the limper called. I was in the low jack and folded my 9 deuce suited. My friend was under the gun +1. He also folded pre-flop. The flop in the hand was 10-3 deuce rainbow. The big blind checked, the limper now bet 20. Only the cutoff called. The turn was a 7 that brought in a flush draw. The limper now overbet 75 into the pot of 70. Cutoff folds. The limper proudly shows pocket 10s for top set. What does that tell us? Well, the guy limped a hand as strong as pocket 10s, then donked with top set, and then overbet when he still had the nuts, but the board got wetter. About 20 minutes later, this same guy now raises to 15 pre-flop. My friend called the bet, everyone else folded. The flop came king 6-4. The original raiser c-bet big. My friend called. The turn was a jack that brought in the flush draw. The guy in early position now overbet again, and my friend called again. The river brought in the backdoor flush. Both players checked. The guy in early position unsurprisingly turned over pocket kings for top set. My friend mocked and told me later that he had king queen. To me, it was obvious that the early position player had a huge hand. After he limped pocket 10s, I thought he must have at least pocket queens now. But this wasn't clear to my friend. Why not? Is he so bad when it comes to reading players? Well, he would have drawn the same conclusion as me if he had paid attention. But he didn't. When the previous hand was being played, he was texting someone on his phone and totally missed what was going on. So if you want to improve your win rate fast, make a habit of paying attention. Even if you can't see it in the moment, this will reap big dividends. And so will my custom open and 3-betting ranges for the live low stakes. Make sure to grab them for free, link below or scan this QR code. And if you want to know more knacks about how to crush the live low stakes, I put together a list of my 5 favorite exploits for 1-2 and 1-3. So watch this video next.